Hey there, and welcome back to the New Mama Marriage Bliss Show. I'm so happy you all are here. I'd like to start off with a question. I'd like each of you to think, when was the last time you had a really meaningful meditation practice? Now, I'm sure some of you are making a face and making a weird kind of, what are you talking about? Do you know what my day looks like? And how do you think I could get meditation, mindfulness, all those nice fluffy and beautiful, blissful words into my day? Well, I know what you're talking about because I know exactly what that's like. Trust me, I know what a day is like, full of running around, dropping off, picking up, dropping off again, picking up again, cooking the next meal, cleaning up the one that we just had before, washing the dishes, setting the table for the next one, packing up snacks, folding the endless laundry, matching those stubborn socks that there's somehow always one missing, playing referee between fighting siblings, washing the dishes from the last meal again because somebody ate while we were doing all the rest of the things, and feeling anxious about the next meal's dirty dishes because I just want to go to sleep by the time that meal will be finished. I know what that's all like. And when I say meditation and all that craziness, kind of sounds pretty far-fetched. I get it. Sometimes even finding time to take a shower is a challenge. And now I'm actually asking you to add some time for mindfulness. I totally get it. And there was a time in my life that I would have laughed at the thought as well. A few mindful moments in my crazy busy day. But then I actually had a time of a meaningful meditation practice. Usually it was around my pregnancies when I practiced hypnobirthing. But I realized when I did have the practice how those moments slowly started changing my whole day. And even all the craziness that I mentioned before, they all of a sudden, all those crazy tasks, felt different inside. And I do believe that you owe it to yourself and to all the people around you, but first of all to yourself, to be able to have moments of a bit of mindfulness, a bit of meditation. We know today that there are so many benefits of meditation. Mindfulness has become this really trendy word. And it became so popular because people see how effective it really is. It really can change your day. It can change your perception on life. And it's just really awesome. So first of all, let's understand what's the difference between mindfulness and meditation. So mindfulness is a way of being. It's a way of life. It's a way of being present. It's the intention of being present in whatever it is that I'm doing. And really just being mindful, having my mind full of what I'm doing and not of all different things. Meditation is one of the many different ways to add mindfulness in your day. So some people might connect more to meditation. Some people might connect more to breathing exercises. For me, mindfulness is usually very connected to nature. And each person can find their own way that they add mindfulness to their day. And when I say that, I mean add presence and add being present to their day. But I'd like to give you a few tips of how to do this in our crazy mama routines or crazy mama days. Tip number 1, the more you try to do at once and start with a big project, the easier it will be to get disappointed. So the first thing that we should do is really believe in gradual growth of a practice and finding a chunk of time, like a weekend retreat or a week detox of, all these nice things to disconnect and meditate. They might be really difficult at this stage of life with little kids, with all the demands that you have going on. And maybe those expectations are too high. So instead of finding like a whole, hour to meditate or for mindfulness or for whatever practice you connect to, start with really gradual, really small steps. Start your mindful practice with just a few minutes a day. You can decide how many mindful minutes you need in your day in order to really feel like you have those moments It could be a practice of 2 minutes, and that can really make a huge difference. Opt for simplicity. Don't worry about making it complex, about like putting on the best meditation that you got or whatever. Just make it a few minutes. It could just be 2 minutes on the clock that you try to have mindful, deep breath. Or maybe 2 minutes that you sit down and you just check in where you're feeling tension in your body. Letting that tension loose, let it go. Feel that tension tickle out. And that's it. Simple, short, yet present. You can gradually grow from there, but start with really small steps. Build confidence in your ability to actually add those moments in your day. When you see that 2 minutes are possible, then all of a sudden 5 minutes might be possible. And remember that when you're building a journey of incorporating mindfulness to your life, a journey starts from first steps, like real baby steps, and focus on really being able to add just a few minutes. Tip number 2. Sometimes life gets really busy and it becomes really hard to find even those few minutes. You get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about it at all today. So just like we know how to make time for a business meeting, because we have to make time for a business meeting and there's no other choice, let's make time for a meeting with ourselves. I'll put in parentheses, also make a time for a meeting with your husband, but that's a different episode. So again, we're going to go for simplicity. It might just be a few minutes in the morning. You decide that every day in the morning when you wake up, you sit up in bed, and you take a few minutes to do whatever mindfulness practice you like. It could be right before you get into bed at night. That was one of my favorites for a very long time. Right before I go to bed, I would put on like a guided meditation and I would just let myself go to sleep with that. Or maybe your husband takes the kids every day from school and then you have those few minutes. Decide on a very small fixed time in your day that you know that is when you take a few minutes to breathe. I remember there was a time that I used to take my kids to their schools, to their kindergartens, playgroups, whatever it was, at whatever age. And then once everybody was where they needed to be, I would sit in the car because I was on my way to work, sit in the car and take 5 minutes to just breathe, look around me, be present in the moment, feel where I was feeling tension in my body, and just really have a few minutes of being present in my body and myself, make intentions for the day that's right before me. And it was just a really good anchoring way to start my day. You know how sometimes those moments of taking your kids to where they need to be can be kind of crazy, making sure everybody has their lunch, making sure everybody has their shoes on the right feet, or whatever it is, it can get kind of crazy. And just to have those few minutes of anchoring myself down really helped me continue the rest of my day with calmness and patience. Look, it's not magic, right? It doesn't change everything, but it does shape our souls and help ourselves become a little bit more present. It becomes more of an automatic thing that we can do to learn how to be present and feel what's going on inside of me, seeing what's going on around me. And it's just really a habit of learning how to do that. Tip number 3 is to link mindfulness to a daily ritual that you do anyways. What does that mean? So this is great for making a mindfulness practice, and it's great for any other habit that you really want to do. Take something in your day that you do anyways, whether it's brushing your teeth or heating up water for your coffee in the morning. Whatever it is that you do anyways, decide that that's your time that you're going to add this habit. There's so many things that we do every day out of choice or out of necessity. And then once we link these few minutes of meditation to these daily rituals that we do anyways, there's a much bigger chance that I'm going to be able to be successful with keeping this as a habit. Maybe when you put up the water to boil for your coffee in the morning, you sit down in the kitchen and you take a few breaths, a few deep, intentional, thoughtful, really great deep breaths to start your day. Whatever it is, make sure that you're linking it to something that you already do, and then it will become something that you do naturally. It's going to be like, okay, I'm turning on the water and I sit down to breathe. And that also is a really great tip. Next tip I want to say is be flexible. Us mamas, we need to learn that really well, because even if we plan ahead of time and we know that this is my time for breathing, for mindfulness, right before I go to bed, whatever it is that I have already decided, things can happen, like a child wanting to come into your bed because he had a nightmare. Talking from experience here. Whatever it is, sometimes things change, and that's okay. Learning to be mindful is also learning to be flexible and being present. And even if things are not going how I planned it to go, I could still go with it and be present in whatever it is that is happening. So be compassionate with yourself and accept that things are flowing differently than planned. Even if things change, make sure that you still have those few minutes that you decided in tip 1 that you need every day. Make sure you still have those few minutes to really anchor you down. Next tip is to be able to have a mommy timeout. What is a mommy timeout? Sometimes you could feel that overwhelm is really starting to sneak in, or maybe it's even rushing over you. And sometimes we need to take a mommy timeout for some first aid meditation. Like, so that I don't lose it completely, I need to take some time and just be by myself. I sometimes have locked myself in the room instead of getting into a explosive moment. I would tell my kids, listen, mommy's not feeling so great right now. I need to take a few minutes to just take deep breaths. I'm going to go into my room for a few minutes and I will come out in a few minutes all recharged. I have locked myself in the bathroom at times as well, because there were times lock myself in the bathroom, just take a few minutes. This is kind of like a first aid kind of tactic when you feel like things are getting a little bit too much, and just really escape the craziness for a few minutes and a few moments of meditation. You could have your favorite few minute meditation saved on your phone, that's what you do when you need to lock yourself in the bathroom. Give yourself permission to take those few moments. Your kids will be fine outside, even if they're fighting. Know how to block that out and just take those few minutes, because then you will be able to go out to them and regroup and rejuvenate yourself and go out and be a much better mommy to them. And allow these moments to beat the overwhelm and not let it take over your sanity. Because I know what that's like. And it's much better to take a time out than to let that happen. Next one is really about progress over perfection. This is something that I say a lot about many different things. But I think that for many people, when we think about meditation, so if you close your eyes and imagine what meditation should look like, many people will imagine this scenic spot, maybe like grass overlooking like beautiful scenery with trickling water in the background, wearing comfy clothes, maybe like with a little boho kind of look, sitting with a straight back on a soft cushion, a few candles nearby, some aromatherapy going on. Like, that is what we would love to think meditation is. But now put a little toddler in all of that, and there goes that beautiful, perfect picture of what meditation should be. It seems kind of far away from the craziness of motherhood. That does not match up to the perfect picture of a beautiful meditation retreat. And many times this picture of perfectionism that we have in our heads, in our subconscious, it stops us from even trying to do the little steps towards mindfulness. So sometimes people won't even try because it's not going to be that perfect picture. Don't let perfectionism stop you. Prefer progress over perfection. Always. In everything. Not just in meditation. When you're looking for a mindfulness practice, just be focused on making sure you have those moments and not that they're perfect. Another tip is to add meditative decor elements in your house. So sometimes even just adding a Himalayan salt lamp or candles, you could even get lead battery candles, having aromatherapy going. You can burn incense. There was a time where I used to put incense. I should really go back to doing this, actually. There was a time where we put incense on like the high shelf over my children's toys. And then even when we were like playing and doing Legos together, just standing up and being able to breathe in the aromatherapy or the incense or whatever it was that was burning at the time, it was able to give me like this really good 2 deep breaths with relaxing components in it. And it was so helpful and so great. And it even gives the kids also this like relaxed kind of mood and adds really great elements to the house vibe. All right, my next tip is to make a mindful family ritual. So when it gets really tough to find time as a mama to meditate or to have a mindfulness ritual, make it a family event. Make it something that you do together with your family, and then it becomes easier. It could be something that you do at dinner. It could be something that you do every morning. Everybody stretches together, maybe before you go to bed. Whatever it is, make it something that you do together as a family, and then it makes a family culture of awareness. You create something bigger in your home. So just a few ideas that you can do. You could do stretching and breathing in the morning before you go to sleep. You can put on a guided meditation before bed, which is one of my children's favorite. After I read a story and we do our whole going to sleep ritual. So then I put on a guided meditation for them and they love it, and we sit together and we do it together, and it gives them the much needed deep breaths that they need after their day, and me as well. Another great idea that you could do is you could have like a Zen zone corner in your house. What does that mean? You can set up a really comfy and safe haven that any member of the family knows they can escape to this Zen zone whenever they need to have some peaceful time alone. So we had a time that we actually pitched a tent in our living room, and we put really nice pillows and stuffed animals and books there. And my kids knew, and me and my husband knew, that if you needed some alone time and you need some peaceful time, you can just go into that corner and have a few deep breaths. And if somebody wants to come into the corner, they have to ask if they can have permission to come in as well. Because if somebody's there, then it's already their private, safe mindfulness time. And that was a really great thing that we did. Now it's not so relevant where we live, and we have different zones, but it's a really great idea to create this safe place at home that our whole family knows that you can go there to have a few minutes of peacefulness and harmony and just, thinking or feeling time. I will add that. Another great idea is to have just time that you check in with everybody, how everyone's feeling, or some kind of mindfulness question. If you would like to get a list of different mindfulness exercises you could do with your family, please DM me on Instagram. I actually have a really great list, and I was debating if this is something that I should put out or not. So if it's something that interests you, please let me know. And I would love to have that for you and gift that to you. I would love to give you another gift that you could do as a family. And this you could find in the show note. This is what I call the RAIN technique. RAIN stands for the 4 different steps of just learning how to be mindful with what it is I'm feeling. So the R stands for recognize. The first thing that we need to do when we're feeling big feelings or we're feeling something unclear is to recognize what is the emotion you're feeling. Name the emotion in your mind if you can, or share it with the person you're doing it together with. This is something we could teach our children, something we could practice together as husband and wife. This is something that we can really use as a technique in our family. And somebody could ask the other one, well, let's do the RAIN. What is it that you're feeling? First, just recognize it. Then the A stands for accept. Accept the experience that you're having. It's okay. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. Yes, you probably don't like the feeling, but the reality is the emotion is here at the moment. So we're going to accept it. After we accept the emotion, then we're going to investigate a little bit. And that's our I. I'm going to investigate, become curious about the experience. Where in my body do I feel this emotion? What kind of thoughts are going through your mind? Does it bring you back to a certain memory? Investigate where this emotion takes me. And then the N stands for non-identification. Non-identification means that I am not the feeling. I am not anger. The emotion is a passing event. You could think of it as like clouds. Clouds, they float over, and when they're over me, I feel it a little more, but they're going to continue floating on. Or I heard somebody say you could think of emotions as guests that come knocking on your door. So if you open the door and you let them in and you accept them, you investigate them, and you learn from them, then that's great. But if you don't open the door for them and they'll continue knocking, and the anger will stay there, and it will build up to resentment, and the knocking will get harder because they just want to come in and do their job, which is to come and teach us whatever it is that they need to teach us. So when we do this non-identification, we're understanding that different emotions arise and pass in me, but they are not me. They're not myself. We should have the attitude that anger is arising and it will soon pass away, or sadness is coming up in me and at some point it will dissolve. This rain technique is a really great idea that you could do at any time when somebody's feeling big emotions in your family, that you could do with yourself, that you could do with your husband. And it's just a really great thing to practice. And as I said, you could get in the show notes a really great template that you could just print out and have it hanging up somewhere in your house so that each of you know what is the rain technique, how to do it. And it can be a good reminder to really anchor yourself down into the present when somebody or you yourself are feeling really big emotions. I really recommend also planning a family meeting and discussing together what would be the best way for your family to implement mindfulness, because maybe your kids have really great ideas of how they would want to do it. Explain to them what mindfulness really is about, being able to be present in the moment, present in what's going on. It's something that is so lacking in our generation of screens, of so many distractions. The ability to be present is so lacking in our generation. So open it up to your family and ask them how they feel that it should be implemented. It is not always easy. It's not. It's not always easy to find time to meditate. And sometimes in the craziness of motherhood, you feel like it's something that's so far-fetched. But with really little adjustments and little changes that you make in your life, or just little intent moments that you are really intentful on what you're doing, on your breathing, on making sure you have those 2 minutes that they are really sanctified moments for breathing and anchoring down, they can change the way that you live your day, that you live your life. And it's definitely worth it for you, for your husband, for your family, and to really be a role model to your children of what it means to be present and adding this mindfulness to your life. Good luck, mamas. I know you can do it. And if you need, go back and listen to the tips so that you can write it down for yourself or really take it to action. So good luck to everyone. And again, you can DM me or message me on Facebook. I love to hear your comments, questions, suggestions, anything else. You know where to find me. And if you don't, you can find it on the show notes. Have a great rest of the day, and I can't wait for next time to meet you back here.